shoulder surgery. God, I had to go. I was
can't
like, oh
see
my God,
either
I'm
of
going to be
you.
able to play. Apparently, we're playing that Friday night, right? You know about. Oh, we're doing like a local thing. Probably that bar, the beer place again. Okay. Whole table had a great sound. Oh, well, that's the same place we played last time. Yeah, yeah. And then, yeah, we're definitely gonna.
If you're a bear, I drink it there. I drink so much I can't see clear. What would I do without my beer? If you're a bear, I'd buy the first round. The next two till you came around. Oh wow, I love to have my beer. If you're a bear, I'd take a case. I'd take you out and back to my place. Oh wow, I wish you were my beer. If you're a bear.
There you are.
Well, that's done.
What's up? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Cheers. You can hear us.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Nike just said there was no visual of us. I guess we're
There
signed in
wasn't.
twice.
Now there's a visual. There's two of you, though. I'm going to remove the one with no visual. There we go.
Where's Mikey?
I don't know. He's not here yet. Can you hear me? Tim?
Trying to see my
Can you hear me?
What is he, the beer keeper? Yeah.
Tim? Tim, can you hear me? What's up, Rodney? Can you hear me?
I can barely hear you, Chuck. Hold on. What?
Lame.
Sorry. I'm in a game room with my kids at a birthday party. I'm talking to my friend.
Ha.
Hey, what's up? Oh my God. I was hanging out on this game. I'll be back in a minute.
Oh, all right. I'll be here. Well, what's up? D10 and Chad were here, but nobody could hear them. They couldn't hear me. Boogie was here, but he's at Chuck E. Cheese or some such nonsense. And I guess I'm doing this by myself. So we wanted to log in and do a show because it's Big Brew Day. And for those who don't know what that is, that's a celebration of when home brewing and home winemaking and home mead making and all that jazz was made legal in 1978, passed by Congress and signed by President Jimmy Carter. And it was the first time that you could actually make beer or wine at home since Prohibition started. And it didn't, some states held off. I think the last two holdouts were Alabama and Mississippi. No shocker there. They joined the rest of the world in 2019. But anyway, ever since I think 1984, don't hold me to that, the American Homebrew Association lobbied Congress to recognize it as a national day, and so the first Saturday of every May is Big Brew Day. So homebrewers all across the country brew beer, and that's what I did today. I brewed beer. So there's a picture of Tim. He can't hear me. I can't hear him. This is a fun podcast. Anyway, I'm drinking a Mega Boss IPA from Newburgh Brewing Company in Newburgh, New York. Let's add Boogie Buzzard back in.
Yeah, I'm here.
Mega Boss. Ta-da!
All I see is Chuck's can. Where's Chuck's head?
It's behind the
There's
can.
Chuck's head.
So I'm drinking
I
a
thought
Mega
you green
Boss
screened
from
yourself.
Newburgh Brewing Company, and it's pretty good IPA. Boogie's having a birthday party. And this is the worst comeback ever.
No, the worst comeback ever was the show you didn't do. I think that was the one that was just me, Tim, and Mikey. You and Groby were missing. Okay. I don't know where the Tim and Chad are. No one can see them. I'm here by myself, apparently. Okay. Inebrination. What's up? Groby is on his way back from Italy. Did himself a little European tour with the proprietor of the cannabis stuff. I don't know what's happening with Chuck. He was kind of running the show, and then he just disappeared. I'm currently standing outside of the Game Vault in Morristown, New Jersey. My kid's going to a birthday party here, so yeah, I'm in a game room with like 40 little kids running around. Some pretty cool games here, though. Unfortunately, I have nothing to drink here with me now, and it's not like I can just run to a deli and grab something and start swilling. So here I am sober, and I think they're gonna try to reboot this thing. Who knows? I seem to be the only one here. Chuck, try again. Oh,
This is an epic failure.
there we are.
Nothing's working.
Okay, apparently I'm back in. You're back in. I see Mikey.
There's Mikey.
Yes,
And now
I
you
see
can
Mikey.
see
I
me.
see Chucky.
All right, let's try this again.
I was having audio and video issues.
I say I can only be here for a couple of minutes because I just had kids running out looking for me. Because like I said, I'm at my 7-year-old daughter's friend's birthday party. Although it's
Nice.
at the Game Vault. Are you familiar with the Game Vault?
No.
Pretty cool place. Nothing but like vintage arcade games and pinball machines.
Oh, nice.
No quarters. Just get a wristband. You pay for the time you're here.
Oh, rad. I would be
But
super
yeah.
into that.
Pretty cool.
Nice. So you're
The
not
only
drinking
thing is they don't-
anything. What's
They
Mikey
don't sell
drinking?
alcohol here.
So I'm starting it off with I have a Modern Times beer called Getaway Dinosaur Hazy IPA, and it comes in at 6.7 alcohols.
Nice.
It's got Citra, Centennial, Amarillo, and Citra Cryo hops.
That's beautiful. I'm drinking a
Fucking delicious.
I'm drinking the Mega Boss IPA. Mega Boss from
Mega
Newburgh
Boss.
Newburgh Brewing Company. I don't know how many alcohols are in it because I don't have my readers.
Oh, I was like, don't they put it on the can? But yeah, I
They
guess
do.
you're blind.
Hey guys,
Yeah, I'm
I gotta
blind.
tap
I'm
out.
old.
I got kids to deal with.
All right.
All right, Boogie.
I'm
Hey,
I'm
fine.
go
try this
wrangle them
again
children.
tomorrow though when Grovy's back from his world tour.
Yeah,
Wake
we'll
him
try
up and make
again.
him do
Yeah.
a show.
Me and Mikey will hold it down.
Yeah,
we're just
dude,
we're gonna do a quick one anyway.
go smoke all those 7-year-olds high
Well,
scores.
peace, dudes.
All right.
Later, brother.
Go jump in the ball thing. You know, the ball thing.
So I spaced on whiskeys too, right? So I was like, oh, I'm gonna drink this scotch, but I forgot it was Kentucky Derby Day, and I got a
Oh, that's right.
God, this fucking trying to do the background thing.
I
But
know
I got
that background thing sucks. I turned mine off.
Yeah, I got the Bridle and Bit cast strength small batch bourbon whiskey. It's 58.5% alcohols, 117 proof. It's
Nice.
it's got the horse racing the little shit on it.
Yeah.
Guy riding a horse. I was like, oh, that's right up the Kentucky Derby alley.
Today is the day where like everybody in England and Kentucky are wearing funny fucking hats.
Oh,
Right?
that's right. It's the fucking
Yeah.
fucking
It's
coronation.
the coronation. So it's fucking weird hat day.
I'm not even. I kind of shit. I'm normally not into that shit, but I kind of want to watch it because.
Oh, I was annoyed because I woke up at like 5:20 in the morning because we got a new puppy.
Yeah,
He wanted to go out. So like I turned on like, all right, let's see what's on TV. And like every channel was like fucking King Charles. And I was like, I really don't fucking care about King Charles.
yeah. I forgot it was the Kentucky Derby, and my wife just like threw it on for the hell of it. Like
Yeah.
oh, it's because like a buddy of mine usually does like a Kentucky Derby party, so it's just whatever. I just go eat food and get drunk.
Right.
But, like whatever. I'm not like.
Do you put money on the ponies?
Nah, I'm not like. Well, so we'll do like the table bets and stuff at the party.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like pick your squares and shit like that. But like, nah, I don't gamble on horse races. I don't know enough about them. Like,
No, yeah, like they all look fast to me.
yeah,
I'm
they
like,
look like fucking diesel ass horses. You know what I
Right.
mean? They all look
right. I just picked
fucking
the
shiny.
like the strongest looking horse and the littlest looking dude.
or like
and
the
I'm
coolest
like,
they have. They're all tiny dudes. Like,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
blows my mind because I'm not a gigantic man, but these dudes.
No, but you're
itty
like a
bitty,
giant
bro.
to those dudes.
I know, right? These guys are itty bitty. They're like, 4'9", 87 pounds or some shit. You're
Right.
like, you're
That's
a
like-
grown adult man. No way.
That's like a good fucking inch and a half shorter than you.
It took a minute. I was like, what? No, that's way more than that, you asshole.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So like I really like we haven't done a show in a while.
It's been a minute. The last time I did one, it was with Tim and and Boogie.
Right.
And all we did was get drunk and talk shit on Fat Mike.
Right.
But yeah, it's been a
minute
a very long time. So you were brewing today, huh?
because today's Big Brew Day. So
Today is Big Brew Day.
So I wanted to do a show to honor that because what I tried to explain this on the first take of this episode. I can't even see you because of that background shit.
I'll turn it off. My office.
Yeah,
is
it's
show though.
So Big Brew Day is a celebration of when home brewing was made legal in the U.S. There you go.
My office is a shit show.
That's all right. Mine is like I can't even like when I do Zoom meetings, like I have to leave my camera off because I've already gotten
because of the cool masks and shit.
I've already gotten one like complaint from like corporate people, like, what's going on? Why does Chuck have all those scary things behind him? Like, because it's my fucking house and I can have what I want. Leave me alone.
These are my things. You don't like my things? Cool. You don't have to come over.
Exactly. Like you're not invited here anyway. But no, so Big Brew Day is a celebration of so home brewing of any kind, beer, wine, whatever, was illegal from Prohibition until 1978. And in 78, Congress passed legalization of brewing at home. President Jimmy Carter signed it, and it was ever since then you could brew. Not, of course, not everywhere. Mississippi and Alabama didn't get on board until 2019. But the American Homebrew Association in '84 got Congress to officially recognize the first Saturday in May as Big Brew Day. So
nice.
All the home brewers across the country brew beer on the first Saturday in May, and it's a thing that the American Homebrew Association does. There's a competition. They kind of put out like, hey, here's the beer we're brewing, and I've never met anyone who's brewed that beer.
Done like the brew of the brew du jour,
right?
As it will.
Like so, and you can pretty much brew anything, and you can do meads, you can do ciders, and it's a big hey, we can legally brew now kind of thing. So, nice. And next up, like there's people pushing to get distilling finally made legal.
Yeah, because I had a question for that, right? Because like Traeger now even makes like a home still, right? Like
right.
That I don't know if it's its own thing or if you set it on the smoker. I haven't done the fucking specifics on how it works, but like, so if you were to distill spirits at your home for your own personal consumption,
you're breaking the law.
You didn't sell it. You didn't give it to anybody. It's just so it's
illegal.
Completely federally and state.
All 50 states. It's illegal.
That's too bad because I've drank some fucking wicked good shine. So
distillation is legal, and that's how you can buy stills. You can distill water.
Because you're distilling other stuff.
But the minute that you distill a fermented beverage,
something. Yeah.
You're breaking the law. So
that makes sense. Yeah,
it doesn't make sense, but that's
what you said makes sense is what I meant. Like, no, it is kind of stupid.
Yeah,
especially for like personal consumption, right?
Right, it's stupid.
Like when they legalized weed in all these states, and they said, hey, it's legal for you to grow, but you're only allowed to grow for your own personal consumption. You're not, what I mean? Like you could share with your friends at your house or whatever, but you can't sell it. You can't give it to people, whatever, right? And that's fine. And then the same thing, with brewing or distilling or anything else. Like if you want to have friends over and party, then cool. Well, but like if you're selling it, then you need to have a license or whatever else, right? Because that would
weird because we live in these 50 United States that are just all completely on their own page of how they do shit, right? Yeah. So like there are some states where you can brew beer at home, right? Because it's legal in all 50 states now since Alabama and Mississippi caught up, but they're always 20 years behind the rest of the country on everything
Those
else.
goddamn reading levels, dude. They catch up to you.
Yeah, but there are some states where like you can brew beer at home, you cannot bring it outside of your house, right? You cannot
Like it can't exit the premises.
right. It like it has to
Is that
stay
property line
indoors.
or
No, indoors, right? Like
oh man, so you can't even drink it in your backyard.
right, but like who's going to enforce that, right? Like because you can drink beer in your backyard.
Hey, look,
So
if you're a law enforcement guy that enforces that, ACAB, all right?
right.
Fucking ACAB.
Yeah, exactly. So
Like,
but then
if I was
but
a
then,
cop, there's zero chance I'm enforcing that. Like,
but then Pennsylvania, for instance, has a liquor production license that allows you to brew beer at home and sell it.
you can get like a private.
You can get a license to produce alcohol in Pennsylvania, and you can sell it to bars. You can sell it at farmers markets.
Okay, so like basically turn your house into a nano, quote unquote,
Right.
nano brewery.
Yeah, you're a nano brewery.
Distro from your garage.
Exactly.
So
far, that's the only state that I know of that does that, and it's recognized federally too. So
yeah.
But then other states, like you can't even give, like if I brew a beer at home, like in some states, not my state, but like I can't even give it to a friend, right?
Yeah, I always wondered about that, like growing up, because I mean, like the home brewing thing, I remember like when I was a kid, like the 80s and 90s in like Southern California, like people fucking homebrewed and like craft beer was like started getting bigger in like the mid to late 90s with stuff like Carl Strauss. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't necessarily the craftiest of beers, but it wasn't Anheuser-Busch, it wasn't Budweiser, Bud Light, Miller Lite, Coors
Right.
Light. It was something different, right? It wasn't all like the Midwesterns, the Poobers, the Hams, the Schlitzes, whatever. It was different. It had depth, flavor, different types of beer styles, whatever. But I remember like my dad and some of his buddies would like brew and then like bring each other bombers and stuff and like do the exchange. And I remember thinking like, are these guys doing a crime or what? Like, is this legal? Like, I don't even know.
It felt like moonshine.
Right? I can't. Yeah, 100%. It did. Yeah. It felt like moonshine because they show up with their little like boxes with their bottles in them, bags or whatever. Like they'd be semi-concealed, and then they do their exchange and they get all excited. And it's funny too because they get so hype. But some of these dudes could not brew very well.
Right.
Some of these beers are fucking gross because like by the time I hit like my I don't know 12 and above, my dad would be like, "You want to try it?" I'm like, "Sure." And some I'm like, "Oh, that's really good." Like that's where I got my affinity for like brown ales, right? About that time because I feel like maybe that's just an easier beer to brew, all in all, because like people would make them and they'd be pretty good. But some of these beers these dudes were making were god awful.
Well, I'll tell you, like back to celebrating Big Brew Day, right? Like the only reason that we have all of the craft brews that we have out there right now, right, is literally because of home brewers.
Oh, for sure.
Like, and
all the biggest ones started kind of as home brewers.
Yeah, and if it hadn't been legalized, like we'd all still be drinking, PBR and Budweiser, and if I'm going to drink any of those beers, it's going to be PBR,
Uber for sure, or Lone Star, or like Natty Low. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. But like that, like until homebrewers like were able to like start like, just really fucking with stuff, right? Like just fucking with recipes and like doing whatever the hell they wanted. And coming up with shit that worked and shit that didn't work. These craft breweries, like, originally that's who started them. And it's still who's really like leading the pack are guys that were home brewers. So
yeah, no, for sure. Like I know anecdotally, in San Diego, Ballast Point, those guys started as home brewers, right? They were like fishing buddies,
right?
That were home brewers, and like they'd get to like they had their little homebrew club, whatever. I don't know if they were activists, which I think that's rad that a bunch of dudes got together like, yo, we like to brew beer, we like to drink beer, we like to do it together. You guys are gonna make it a fucking thing. You're gonna legalize, goddammit. good for them. But like the
Yeah.
Ballast Point dudes, they were fishing buddies that brewed together, and they were like, entrepreneurial in a sense or whatever, decided like, hey, let's open a home brew store, because at that time, like in the 90s, you had to get your supplies, you know what I mean? And so having a home brew store, like a place that has all of the things you need, plus maybe some mentorship or instructions and the different materials you need, easy peasy, right? So that it started as a home brew store. Then they started selling their beers. They got like a tap license, or I don't know, like a fucking
some kind of license California offered.
So they had like, like 5 taps, like whatever. So in the home brew store had a mini tap room, and they would sell their beers, and people are like, yo, these beers are fucking amazing. And then they do like, well, here's the recipe for that, and here's what you need to buy, and you can try to make it at home on your own. And they were doing that for years, right? Like you could
and now Ballast Point is like one of the big dogs.
Fuck yeah. They got bought by Constellation for like $1 billion. And then they had so those guys got big ass paychecks. And then, but the crazy thing is, when they only sold the brewery, not the distillery. So at the time it was Ballast Point Spirits. Now it's Cutwater Spirits. So these dudes built this company, sold it for $1 billion, and then only sold half of it basically. So then the other half they keep. And so Cutwater's been huge too. Now, like Cutwater, you see, like now it's baseball season. They're all over, like in the ballparks, like out here in Phoenix, they sell Cutwaters. They have a Cutwater Terrace in San Diego and LA. Like,
and now those whiskeys have had time to age.
Oh yeah. Right? No, like some of their stuff's pretty fucking good. Yeah. But like their pre-mixed drinks are good. But yeah, the actual spirits, like their rums, especially the rums, I think are really good. But and then my aunt actually recently picked up one of their whiskeys and said it was good. But like you said, it's had time to mature now. So now they have more than just like 2-year, 3-year, bare minimum stuff. They've got stuff that's been around 5, 8, 10 years. But yeah, it's just a trip to me how they started as being just like avid home brewers, started a home brew store, and then that success followed. I think I read somewhere, so they sold in like, I don't know, 2014, 2015 for $1 billion, which is insane. Yeah. And then I think they sold, like Constellation sold it off to somebody else for like a quarter of that.
Wow.
Like they didn't manage it properly. It wasn't making the returns that they wanted. So they just like dumped
Well,
it.
you know what happens with a lot of like the cool breweries that do exactly what they're supposed to do. You get out there, you make a name for yourself, and then the big guys come in and they make you an offer and you sell, because that's the point of like opening a business, right?
Exactly. 100%.
So, but what happens is like the fans of like Ballast Point or whatever are like, oh, I'm not drinking this anymore because it's
because they got bought. Yeah,
because they got bought out or whatever.
When people buy AB InBev buys people, and they do that same fucking thing.
Yeah, but it's like the same beer, right? It's the same, like they usually keep on like the same brewers, same ingredients.
That's what I'm saying. Those guys, they get a fat paycheck, and then they keep their job, and now they're looking for a
typically job. Like all like InBev takes over, right? Is like distribution, which
pretty much, that's what happened with Goose Island, right? So AB InBev bought Goose Island out of Chicago or whatever, and those guys all they did was it dumped a bunch of money in for expansion for production, right? So that's why you now see like the Bourbon County in bigger batches and different flavors and shit like that. They do once a year release, and they're crazy expensive and hard to get, but now they have more and they're able to do more, whatever. But it's all the same people. It's the same brewery. It's just a larger scale. And then AB InBev, like you said, takes over the distribution, right? Yeah. So they own the business, they reinvest in the business, but they leave all the people there. So like, for instance, Charlie Splatterhead fucking starts fucking as a home brewer, gets fucking good at brewing, starts selling his brews, and then AB InBev comes in and says, hey, we want to buy Splatterhead Brewing Company for $5 million.
And I'm supposed to say no because I'm fucking cool or something?
because I'm too cool to sell out, bro. Right. The whole fucking goal in business is to sell out, dude. Right. That is a functional business model.
Yes. I will take that fucking money and then I will go open another brewery, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
because just word for the wise, never sign a non-compete order. And if
Right.
you do, make sure that it has fucking language that is agreeable to you.
Exactly.
Right? Like, oh, 6 months. Okay. I'm going to take my $5 million. I'm going to go on a fucking 6-month vacation. And then when I get back, I'm going to dump some of this back into a new one and make it.
Right.
And then at that point, you can make it yours. You can do a small little boutique, fucking nothing but horror, fucking themed, whatever.
Yeah.
And not even give a shit if it takes off or not, because now you're doing your thing because you
because
and sold.
Now I'm a fucking billionaire, right?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, fuck, cool, bro.
Because I made beer in my fucking garage, right? Like that. So, like, don't knock these dudes, man.
Fuck no,
like,
that's the dream. Yeah,
that's what you're supposed to do, right?
You went from
like,
making beer in your garage to making a couple milli all
pissed
day.
Off that people succeeded is fucking retarded.
Yeah, I think that's it's fucking sad, is what it is. Like, I'm a big believer in up your homies, right? Like, so like no matter what as long as it's not like fucking heroin or something like that, like, yeah, keep doing it, good job, you know what I mean? But if you want to brew and then get to the point where it's successful enough to where you're getting offers from these guys, I'm gonna absolutely fucking be like, absolutely do that. That's fucking great. You be happy, enjoy it, and be successful. And then if you do get to that point and you do sell out, fucking high five, congratulations. Can I come to the party?
Yeah,
that's it. Like, I just want to come to the party.
But also don't forget. Like, right?
Oh,
like,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, don't be like, oh, now I have a couple zeros in my pocketbook.
Right.
Like,
yeah. Don't be a dick. Like, because I'm all for, like, fucking free market capitalism, and as long as it's fucking regulated and fair and all that shit.
Yeah.
It can't be like the Industrial Revolution, right? Where like people were just getting fucking totally screwed and dudes were making tons of money
but the oligarch model,
right, which which is crazy because that's what some people want to go back to now, and then other people are like, oh, fuck that, we're gonna be communists, like, you don't like can we like have like a mixed economy here and like just be intelligent and like do like normal, like, really look at, like, I don't know, maybe look at some of the European models and go, well, maybe we could take some of that, right? We're not. Right. But
man, people don't like it when you talk about the European models. Though. I talked about it with just the transportation systems.
Right.
We get fired up, and I'm like, this isn't Europe. This is America. I'm like, yeah, I understand that, but
right, I know, but like it's not. It's nice to go someplace and like when you like land on the runway, it doesn't look like you're landing in a third world fucking country, right? Like, like all the fiber and shit's underground, and it's like everything's paved, and like there's no homeless people roaming the streets, and then you come back here and you're like, oh fuck, and all the people that are like, oh, it's fucking, we're the only way to do things, are like people that have never been anywhere else.
Yeah, right? No, 100%. Yeah, they haven't even left their own state.
No.
Yeah, they're just like, fucking ignorance is bliss, I guess.
Yeah, I guess, man. But I mean, like me and you, like, I love this country, right?
Absolutely.
But I always say, like, but let's be better.
Oh,
what's wrong with that? Like, if we go back to wrong with the idea of let's be better?
No, 100%. I constantly think, I mean, everybody as an individual, but as society, always seek improvement. Yeah. But I will say this: if America decides to go back to like the Rockefeller and fucking Daddy Warbucks oligarch model, can you guys please just name me an oligarch going into that?
Right. Yeah.
Give me the leg up.
Right. Because I
promise I'll be really appreciative.
Right. Exactly. Like, because we served, right.
Like, exactly.
Right. We at least served, like, and we know that the actual oligarchs didn't. And none of their kids did or any of that shit. Yeah, so at least like
they just got sick ass yachts.
Right. Like I always laugh at like, and I don't want to get political, but like there's a certain guy who was president of the country, right? I'm not even gonna say his name, but who like
in the past,
right? In the past, who was who wasn't able to go to Vietnam because of bone spurs, right? That his own doctor found, right? But like you and I know, right, that like when you join the military, right, like you don't actually go to your own doctor,
No,
right? Like
it's a guy that's just like bend over, like spread your butt cheeks
right.
over a cough.
So like if
All right, you
if
seem
you're
healthy.
if you're like going out of your way to like go, well, let me go get a physical from my own doctor, or like you're fucking looking for a way to
Oh
like
yeah,
like not serve, right? Like
1,000%.
yeah, which is fucking lame, right? And you know, I don't know Vietnam War. I don't know if it was fucking worth fighting or whatever, but you know what? Other people were doing it, right? So fucking if your number comes up, like you don't, you just pitch in, dude, or or you bail to Canada or whatever, but you don't come up with some bullshit story of like fucking
You bailed to Canada, you pussy.
right, but you don't come up with some bullshit. You just don't like. I don't know. That's my like. That's all I know is like, look, I can say whatever I want because again, I did serve, so I don't fucking owe anyone any more patriotism than that.
And
I
if
like
you are a patriot, you're a big fan of the First Amendment.
right.
So there's
But
that.
I don't owe anyone any fucking additional patriotism than fucking signing my name and fucking putting on the uniform and doing what I had to do. That's I did that. And now I can talk shit. I can fucking whatever.
I agree with that 1,000%. Dude.
Cheers to
like
that.
because I can't I hate that. And I think it's odd that it's become like a contemporary like point of contention where people want to call out like whether, because it's not about patriotism, but they'll use that word, right? But
right.
Basically, if you don't agree with me, then that means you are not a patriot, which is fucking asinine, right? Like foundationally, this country was fucking formed for people to be able to do what they wanted to do and live how they chose to live, and then not pay taxes.
Right.
Fucking wazoo. Guess what we do?
And
we got all kinds of rules. We're not able to live the way we want to live. We're not able to fucking practice the way we want to practice, and we got to pay taxes out the fucking wazoo. So it's an interesting little social experiment that we got going on here. But yeah, a lot of these yahoos that haven't actually done dick for the country that talk shit, it drives me fucking crazy. But whatever. To each his or her own. They're all protected under the Constitution of the United States.
Exactly.
But fuck around and find out.
That's me with like
throw that one out there.
I talk to guys that are like, they're mad about, athletes protesting and kneeling or whatever. And it's like, that's why I served my country so they could do that.
Yeah, 1,000%. I did that whole, I know, I'm just going to say the name, Colin Kaepernick thing. The fact that people are so fired up about that is the most asinine, juvenile, just like your brain doesn't function at a high level shit that I've ever heard of. Like, do you honestly give a fuck? And then when the guy gets fired, that's still not enough for you? Like, dude, the guy's career is fucking shot.
Yeah.
People are still like, I just can't believe it. Man, fuck you. I'll kneel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No.
I've had homies sent home with that fucking flag on top of their fucking box. So you know what? Like, it's totally okay. It's totally okay. You fucking idiot.
Exactly. And if we start taking fucking people's rights away so that you feel fucking better, or you can wrap yourself up in a fucking flag that you didn't fucking, that you've done nothing to like
a flag pattern snuggie because you're a fucking bitch.
Right. If you start taking people's rights away, then fucking what the fuck did you and I serve for?
Oh, that's
right.
Yeah, absolutely. That's rad. I just noticed on my Modern Times beer can that, and I'm sure they did this a while ago, and I just never paid attention. But employee owned.
Nice. Yeah, I noticed that.
The not to get political again, but they went like the communist socialist route on their company. But good for them because Modern Times has done very well.
It's not. It's fucking mixed economy. Fucking, they're making profits.
It's profit sharing.
No,
I love
it.
Yeah. I think more companies should do that where the employees
cooperatives
as part of as part of the compensation package, right? Instead of it just being salary, right? Do equity. right?
Right.
Provide people shares, right?
And you know what?
Because
And
if you're an owner of the company, if you have your shares and you contribute to the success of that company, all that money at the end of the year when they fucking do the distributions, they can do it whatever, monthly, quarterly, annually, whatever. But when they do those distributions, it's taxed less. So you actually make more money. And now you are actually working to make yourself more money as opposed to make someone else more money, right? Because most of us work our asses off so that the higher ups can make millions of dollars.
right.
You know what I mean?
And let's let if it's employee owned, right? So the employees get to vote on whether or not fucking, the head
100% because
dude,
they're shareholders. Yeah.
the head dude gets to go out and buy a new fucking BMW
On the company's dime.
on the company's dime, and then tell the rest of us that we don't get Christmas bonuses this year, right? So like you have, everybody gets a say.
Yeah. More people should follow the beer company model, guys.
Yeah.
Because it's a winning situation. But
That's right.
I think it's great. I never noticed that Modern Times was employee owned brewery.
So
but
everybody check out Modern Times and
Modern Times.
employee owned.
They make good.
And you know what else is employee owned?
Chuck's
This.
homebrew.
No, this is Laura's.
Oh, what Laura make?
This is a mead that Laura made. It's fucking delicious. This one's about 2 years old. So.
Is it the hibiscus one?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. Because I heard that shit was whoop whoop.
No, unfortunately, this is one that she didn't write the recipe down.
Winged it, and it turned out great.
And it turned out great. And I have to. So today, was Big Brew Day. So I brewed a super, super bitter, one of those early 2000 IPAs that you can't find anymore.
All of the alpha acids that makes your breath smell like a fucking
IBUs. And I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna brew one of these, right? And just sticking my pinky into the wort and getting a taste, I still can't get that taste out of my mouth. So it's exactly what I was going for.
Yeah.
But then she concocted this amazing mead, right? That with cherry and hibiscus, and we were gonna bottle it. And I have this brewing cart outside, and I went outside with the mead in a glass carboy, and I put it on my brewing cart, and I turned around and I took 2 steps, and the whole fucking cart tipped over.
No, and the carboy went.
And the carboy went shatter, and fucking all that mead, all sacrificed.
It's like a triple whammy because those glass carboys are nice and they're not cheap.
No,
and then the mead.
Right. No, honey's not. And
fucking, I know all the honey that goes into it, and just the fact that it's a delicious libation,
and all the work that went into it, and it's
single teardrop crybaby style.
I feel fucking terrible, man. And I didn't do anything, but
it obviously wasn't intentional. Sorry,
right.
Laura. I know you're listening. It wasn't on purpose.
She knows, but I still feel bad because I really wanted some.
For real, right? Yeah. No, meads are great.
Anyway, awesome. This one was a surprise because I went to grab one of the meads from downstairs, and since it's homebrew day, I wanted to drink something that I made at home.
Nice.
And, look at that; it's nice, and
I know it's got a good
nice and clear.
Yeah. I was gonna say, is it more of the almost wine, dessert wine?
Yeah. This drinks like a Pinot Grigio or something,
Yeah. I was gonna say they have more or a Riesling kind of, like a dessert wine kind
of. Well, this one is dry, so it's.
Is it more dry?
Yeah, nice. It's more of a dry wine, but it's tart. And when I grabbed this one and brought it up here, I didn't even realize that we had any of this concoction left. So I'm pretty pleased.
Got the deep cut. No, that's awesome. Yeah, no, I like those because they have what's it called? Is it called a braggot?
Braggot is when it's it's honey and grains.
Right. So that's
So it's
more
like a beer and
a beer mead kind of mix. And then, but they do have meads that end up being a little bit more brewy like that aren't necessarily a braggot, but are closer to a braggot. I'm glad I remember that word, by the way, because I was like, what the fuck is this word?
Yeah.
Braggot.
That's
Stop
fun
being
to say.
Yes, yeah. Because we can't say other words that sound like that, but we could say this one.
Right.
But yeah,
because Cody will get all pissed off.
Fucking A, right? That guy with his words.
Yeah.
Actually, so, I have a funny story about that after. But like, so they have the ones that are closer to the braggot. They're almost like more of an ale style mead, right? Which I imagine is maybe closer to like some of the Norse, whatever, when they just make a brew and then ferment it and drink it from a horn.
So you're saying that like the Norse like basically like dominating Europe and like discovering like founding cities like Dublin and Moscow and like
Nova Scotia,
overtaking like the English crown and like the French crown and all that stuff. You're saying that those guys weren't probably drinking 14% meads all day long. They were probably they were probably like kicking back like crushables.
The chuckables. I don't know. I mean, because the alcohol content on the more ale style ones is still pretty high. It's just more like the body and the flavor, right? Like it's a little bit.
It is, but like
thicker, I guess
the session meads are kind of cap off at like 8%.
Which is crazy for a session. Like that's double what a session like regular beer would be.
Right. Like I just brewed a 4% beer, which is the first time I've ever done that in my life. But I was like, why haven't I done that? Because
I love like party guiles and session beer. So like, do you ever do party guiles?
No.
So, and I like this is something.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I do.
Something I learned from my brother. So it's basically you rerun everything. So like you do a batch, right, of your primary beer, and then you rerun because there's still like starches, carbohydrates.
Oh yeah, no,
yeah. So you rerun them, you're gonna get a lower, like it's gonna be a lighter and like a little bit more watery, I guess. Like
right. So
in deep or whatever, and then lower alcohol.
In distilling, that would be called your low wines, which I know nothing about because distilling is illegal, and I wouldn't. I don't do that, but yeah, and I actually have done that. Like so, basically, what you do is you run you do your brew, right, and you sparge all the sugar through the grains, right, and then you take those same grains and you do the whole process again.
Yeah, you do it again. You rerun them,
and you get a lower ABV, but not always. Sometimes it comes out almost exactly the same. Yeah, sometimes it comes out almost or very close to the same because there's still a lot of sugar left.
Right. Left. I guess if you didn't do your boil long enough or maybe not necessarily long enough, but it could have gone longer to pull some more of that. So the initial initial batch could have been
we won't get into all the technicalities because the boil has like the reason that people boil for 60 minutes or 90 minutes is because that's what was written in a fucking book 50 years ago, and that's like
right.
But you can literally boil for 20 minutes and you get the same results. You have to kind of change your grain bill a little bit because your efficiency changes, but there's no need to boil for an hour. I mean, just because you're boiling for sanitary reasons and for off flavors, all that is
kill any potential bacteria that's been introduced, so you're not getting a sour.
But like if you know anything about cooking, right?
I love to eat.
boiling for 15 minutes is going to kill everything.
Yeah,
So,
it was pasteurization, right?
Yeah. So boiling for an additional 45 minutes is not going to kill anything else,
Extra,
right? Like
right,
you've already. But anyway, I said we weren't going to get into that.
That's fine. Is that mostly? I don't mean to keep going. Is the longer boils? Is that more for the hop drops and any of the additives or adjuncts or other shit that they put into? You think?
It can be, but for the most part, it's because that's the way it was done, and that's the way people still do it. Like it's like there are people out there that like won't force carbonate their beers because traditionally it was done with sugar and natural
Just the
carbs.
natural fermentation.
And it was like, yeah, but you know what? If 100 years ago people had CO2 tanks, guess what they would have done? They would have force carbonated their beers. Like,
well, sure, but like also historically, people didn't have electricity or fucking cars,
right? Exactly,
or all this other shit.
Right.
Like,
how fucking far do you take it?
You going full Amish, bud? Yeah,
right.
Come on, fucking step into the 90s, dude. We've evolved.
Yeah, and there are people in Europe now brewing beers like in their farms and shit that like when we talk about boil times, they're like, "What are you talking about?" Like there's like the saisons and shit. Like traditionally, they're no boil beers.
All the farmhouse stuff.
Fucking boil them at all. They just fucking but whatever. Like
it is Big Brew Day though, so I think
it is Big Brew Day, so it's kind of cool stuff to talk about. But
absolutely, yeah, and it's funny too because like I feel like I'm like brewing adjacent, right? My brother brews and owns a brewery. You brew. My dad brews. I just drink. Like my dad, I will say this: my dad did give me a like some of the stuff to start a kit, like some of the big pots and like the valves and hoses and shit, to at least have like the the grains and then be able to sparge it into the wort pot or whatever.
Next year, I'm gonna have you ready to fucking brew on Big Brew Day because we should.
Okay. How about this? You guys come out for the Gem and Mineral show.
All right.
And then you can see what I have, and then we could get me set up and you can walk me through what I need to do. And then that'll give me a couple months of trial and error.
I'll come out.
That's the end of January.
We'll come out for the Gem and Mineral show in Tucson, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you and I will brew a batch of beer together.
Okay. I'm down.
And then on Big Brew Day, like, and we're not gonna start you with fucking extracts or any like no training wheels. We're just gonna do beer.
Fuck no, dude. Just raw grains.
Like, if you can cook fucking oatmeal, you can make beer. So it's the same.
Dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Yeah, it's people like to overcomplicate shit. Like I was laughing like I was at a Big Brew thing with my homebrew club, which by the way, you mentioned homebrew clubs earlier. Like everybody out there, like join homebrew clubs. Like that's the way to learn. Like,
oh yeah, 1,000%.
Yeah.
I mean, there can be shitty ones, and because it's all personality dependent, right? Like, there's just shitty people, and sometimes they'll fuck a whole vibe up.
But that's with everything.
But for the most part, yeah, I think because you get some of these dudes that are like old school, but have been into it for decades, that know cool little tricks and things that could teach you, and then, or you get some of these guys that are like really into, I guess, like the rules of beer, like so they do the judging. Like they get certified like a judge at beer competitions and stuff. And while they can be total dicks, they can also provide some pretty good feedback and insight as to like, hey, this beer is really good, but it's not true to style or form because of X, Y, and Z. And if you're like, all right, well, fuck it, I don't care, then fine. But if you are like, okay, well, I'm going to refine my technique so I can hit that mark, it's just good input, right? It's good feedback.
Well, plus you're like your friends and family that you give your homebrew to they'll tell you like, oh yeah, this beer's great or this beer sucks.
Oh, they'll 1,000% lie to you.
Right. But they don't know what they're talking about. Right. So like when you're in a homebrew club, like guys will like, be honest. And
they'll be like, hey, do you not, or do you have a water softener?
Right. Did you
I do. Like,
Did
yeah,
you literally put ass in this? Because I'm getting ass.
I got
Lots
a
of
cup.
ass.
I'm getting odes of wet ass
Right.
and a cup full of ass juice.
Right. But that, like, you need to know that, right? If you're making beer. Like, you need to know.
1,000%. Yeah. Or and
Like,
if they have positive feedback, right? It's like, hey,
yeah, absolutely.
this
Yeah.
tastes fine, but it has a fragrance that is not pleasing.
Well,
You know what I
the
mean?
cool thing
Well,
is
what do
that
I do to fix that?
the cool
Right.
thing is that they'll ask questions like, whoa, what was your pre-boil fucking gravity, and what was your pH level, and all that shit that you're not necessarily like.
And you're like, wait, you're
You're
supposed to
like,
check the
what?
gravity before the boil?
Right? You're like, what pH level? I just fucking read the book, and like, maybe your water sucks, right? But then, like, it gets you
100%. Water is
thinking.
super important.
Yeah, it's the number one ingredient in
Yeah,
your brew,
super
right? Like,
important.
there's more water in there than anything else. So
Yeah, that's
you
why I'm
have the
trying to think of the
best.
stop water thing, because that's the only thing I can think of. Like, the water's the most important thing, and if like you don't have a good filtration system and you're just using shit that's like heavy in minerals, or like the
Right.
water softeners, it's running it through salt. You know what I
Right.
mean? So like, salt
And there's
in your beer might not be the best ingredient. It
and
might be,
or there's
but
not
it might be
enough
fine.
salt,
Yeah.
and you need to, like, so, and there's ways to adjust that, right? But like, if you're just like, well, I read the book and it said put this much water and this much, like, so you'll learn shit from guys that have been doing it for a long time, which is cool.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. I mean, honestly, I think that goes for like motorcycle shit, right? Maybe you don't have to get in a 1%er motorcycle club, but like motorcycle clubs and riding clubs and things like that, like those dudes can help you. Like, hey, I've never fucking had to rewire my, the fucking cabling from my brakes to my handlebars, right?
Right.
And I want to do this myself because it seems like something I should be able to do, right? But you don't know how to do it, and you don't know how to use YouTube because you live in a fucking cave or whatever.
Well, I was
There's
just gonna
bound to
say,
be
I
YouTube's great
mean,
for everything.
all
You
of
can
this
learn how to brew probably on YouTube.
yeah, you can totally, but you're not part of a community,
Right.
right?
So yeah, and that was where I was gonna go with it, right? You can get these guys that like mentor you, help you get through, teach you things, or can actually physically help you, because some shit does require more than one person. But on top of that, that builds that camaraderie, that builds that community, right? So you have like a sense of belonging, which is like a core fundamental human need,
Right.
so
And
you're getting fucking primal with this shit.
right. We all want to be in some kind of tribe, right? So
Yeah.
let's join one.
Like, I've been trying to be in a Tribe Called Quest for fucking 30 years, dude. They still won't let me in.
Let's all join one that's not fucking crazy, right?
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I second this. Motion is carried. Let's all join a tribe that isn't fucking crazy.
Right. Right. It's like, no, like, everybody wants to be part of something, but just if the thing that you're trying to be part of starts going, let's go fucking burn shit, or fucking shit in people's offices, or like, beat up cops, or fucking kill black people, or whatever, like, run
Just
away.
describe the Raider Nation.
Fuck you.
I'm fucking with you. You know what? I was gonna say that, and then you said something, and I hesitated, and I wasn't gonna say it, but I still said it. When you threw the racism thing, I was like, "Ooh, I don't want to say Raider Nation for that."
No,
the
you
burn
can't.
shit and shit on stuff for sure.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So,
did you see the name I sent, by the way?
I did. I sent it to my fucking Raider fan group too.
I like how there's like source Adam Schefter or whatever, like legitimate source. The fucking Raiders have bailed out and signed Jackson Mahomes.
That's fucking funny. But I posted it in my Raiders fan group, and they were like, one of them's like, is he actually in jail? And that was, they were like, yep. And we're like, that's the funny part.
Yeah, what did he get arrested for? Like,
I don't fucking
or some shit.
I don't know. Like, I like, every day I just wake up and it's like fucking, I don't even watch shit anymore, because it's just like, how many fucking people got shot today? Like, it's just like a fucking mass shooting shit going on. I'm like, I don't even turn on the news, so I don't know why he was arrested. I hopefully not for a mass shooting.
Oh Jesus. Yeah, no, it's probably I think it's probably like drunk and disorderly or domestic
Right.
abuse or some dumb
Yeah,
shit.
I can't with the fucking news of the world anymore. I'm
No.
done. I'm like,
Yeah,
fuck it.
no, yeah, no, we really don't. It's weird because I watched the news all day, every day for years, like essentially
Right.
since I became an adult, right? Like
Right.
18 years on, and then like it got very serious when I joined the service, right? Because now global events
Right.
and
Mattered to you. Like,
diplomacy and shit actually have like
affect your
a
life. Yeah.
very much more than just like the price of fucking gas or something like that. You know what I mean? Like I distinctly recall when 9/11 happened, fucking
Yeah.
immediately picking up the because like I did have a Nokia brick phone at the time, right? But like the go-to still wasn't cell phones at that time, right? Like
Right.
we're talking
Right.
2001, you know what I mean? But I remember grabbing my like house phone that I had in my barracks room and
Yeah.
immediately
I didn't have a cell phone on
like
9/11.
I grabbed my house phone that I had in my barracks room and I called like my parents and they were already at work, but like I left a voicemail and was like, yeah, no, so some dickheads just crashed planes into buildings and yeah,
Yeah.
we're probably going to war.
You're like, we're going to war.
Yeah,
Like
like
I don't
probably
know when or with who, but we're
yeah,
going to
because there
war
was no
for
there
sure.
there was no attribution at the time, but like that doesn't happen, right? Like a one plane, two planes,
Right.
three planes,
Right.
and then a fourth plane like that. So 100% it was like a thing, and I knew, and I was like, oh yeah, no, we're probably going to war, and
Yeah.
I'm in, like I've already been in almost 2 years at that time, like I ain't going anywhere for at least a couple years because
Yeah.
when I enlisted, it was like I did a 4-year
Yeah. I like
contract. I was fucked.
I had
Like,
already been discharged for like 5 years at that
yeah,
point.
I'd
Right.
100% let that motherfucker ride. That's like now with like the Russia invading Ukraine and then like the tension in the Strait of Taiwan. People constantly
Right.
ask me like, "Oh my God, are you gonna get recalled?" I'm like, "No, bro. Like, no, fuck no. I'm retired. I retired
Yeah.
as a senior warrant officer. Like, but not like I wasn't a general. You know what I mean? They'll
Right.
recall general officers because
Right.
they're fucking super senior and have certain experiences and skill sets or whatever. Like they did that with Schumacher after 9/11. They brought
Right.
Schumacher
Right.
back out of retirement, and that guy is big, bro. I met him on my way into Afghanistan. that man is like 6'4", 6'5",
Yeah.
and like big. But like, so guys like that get recalled. Guys like me or you, we're not getting recalled, bro. They're gonna be like, you know
No.
what, you did your thing, you're fine. And
Yeah.
now I'm like, I'm too old anyways. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Like they.
Like,
Yeah.
what are you they bring back the mid-40s fucking dude that's already
Yeah.
retired that doesn't give a shit anymore? You know what I mean? Like, doesn't sound like a good play. Like, it really doesn't. Like, if you want to bring somebody back, you want to bring somebody that's like dying to come back, not the guy
Oh.
that's like fucking hide in the corner, cover my face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's not me. But yeah, I'm like, no, I'm not getting recalled because I don't even have like IR time, inactive ready reserve, because I did over 20. So like I'm done.
Right. Yeah.
I'm
You
done,
don't
done.
even have the
Like,
IRR. Like.
fuck that
Yeah.
with
I was on IRR during the like first Gulf War, right? But nobody called me.
No, because
like,
I mean they didn't have to. They didn't deploy everybody.
Yeah, it went pretty quick. So
it was pretty quick, pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty good turnout. Other than the Gulf War syndrome.
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
dude, I met a guy. So I did the
Actually, you know what? No, during the first Gulf War, I was still active.
I was gonna say, I thought you were probably active
Yeah.
timeline wise.
Yeah.
But yeah, but not everybody deployed. You know what I mean? Like
No.
I was younger, so but I do remember that in the wall. That was big news in the same time frame.
Yep.
What was I gonna say?
I have no
I was
idea.
gonna say. God
Can't
damn
fucking ask me that. I don't know what you're gonna say.
I know. Yeah,
Do any of my masks
I don't read
remind you?
minds. I don't read minds. Oh, this beer's hitting good. All this making me burp a lot.
Yeah.
Beer does that, I guess. Makes you belch.
Yeah.
So, Tom. just did what, a week in Italy or something?
Yeah, he was in fucking Genoa and Florence, right?
Yeah, I think so. Did he do Venice at all? I can't remember. Like,
Yeah, he did. He did Venice. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like reading the text and looking at the pictures and just being like,
Yeah, he did
oh, I'm
Venice.
so jealous. Like, I
Yeah.
love. So I'm actually, dude, I'm taking the whole family this fall.
It's just funny because, like, even when I texted the other day, like, both, like fucking, they fucking hate obnoxious Americans, right? Like, but they're obnoxious Europeans, so it's okay. Like we hate them too. It's fine. But
the juxtaposition is very real.
but you fucking, you couldn't have picked there are the fucking Groby and fucking Catherine are the loudest, most fucking, like, Groby's huge.
Yeah,
and
he's a big
loud.
dude and he's very loud. He's very Jersey.
Yeah, I mean, he is fucking, and Catherine is fucking, she doesn't even come up for air. Like, she just, once she starts going, it's just fucking, it's like fucking, you think she's on fucking speed every time she's in the room. She's just like, so that like the two of them in Europe, but then I'm like,
that they're constantly, we found another Irish bar. Like,
yeah, they're just
one,
like,
that is a thing.
Irish pubs.
It is a thing. Like, for whatever reason,
with like Italian dudes working there,
right?
Which is
Yeah,
fucking hilarious.
Yeah, like I went to one in Warsaw last year. It was
like nobody, like, people might give shit to an American, and nobody's gonna give Groby shit. They're gonna
big.
He's fucking huge. He's
and
loud,
white haired, but he's loud as shit. Like,
he's a silverback. He's fucking right. He's 100%. Like, yeah.
He's got big gorilla mitts, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
he does. Yeah. He's got big giant hands. Like, yeah, I probably wouldn't either. I'd be like,
yeah, and his girlfriend is like, she was like married to like, not Chuck Zito, but like the number 2 guy in the like NYC Hells Angels, yeah. Like freaking like she's still part of that family.
Not Chuck Zito, but pretty big. That's
fine. She's still part of that family, right? Like, she's like they basically raised her and her kids, and like so like they just, neither her or Groby give a shit. So
I guess if I had the entirety of the HA backing me, I probably would have less to give. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And I mean, in anywhere, right? Even internationally, right? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
There's a huge presence in Europe of HA. Yeah. Like, I'm not trying to fuck around with that. That's a bad play.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's like, the last place you want to fuck around. Like, I played a show in New York State with the Tombstone Brawlers, right? And it was for I'll just say it was for another motorcycle club that's sort of well known. Like, they had a documentary on Discovery Channel and shit.
Like another different one.
Yeah, another different one, right? And we played a show. They hired us to play a show for like benefit thing. We did it, and it was like fucking way the fucking bumfuck New York State, and everything was cool. There's all these different motorcycle clubs there, and like, my band finished playing, and all of a sudden I see walking in the door like all these big angry looking motherfuckers with 3rd Street crew patches on, which is like New York City fucking Hells Angels.
Oh.
And there are other Hells Angels clubs in the area, but these fucking dudes came all the way from the city, and they did not look happy. And my band out here, you know, we're a bunch of idiots. And I'm like, no, it's time to go now. And they're like, oh, let me get. I was like, no. I'm like, get your shit, because it's all fun and games until the Hells Angels show up pissed off. And then it's time to leave. Because we have nothing to do with this. So get your shit, get out the fucking door, and let's go. And shit went down. And we were outside when it did go down.
Good. Good.
But it turns out the motorcycle club that we were playing for, which was sanctioned to wear a New York patch in their
There's a
one of the guys
in what they're repping.
One of the guys got arrested the weekend earlier, and it was in the newspaper with another motorcycle club known for Pennsylvania, the Pagans.
Yeah,
and,
I was like, I think I know which one you're talking about the first time. And I was like,
and they were hanging out. And they got arrested together and so it didn't turn out well for the dudes in New York.
Did the other one have a skull with cross pistons? I think
it wasn't that one.
Okay,
it wasn't that one. No.
Well, it certainly wasn't the Banditos. They're not up there, are they?
No, it was the ones with the what's the demon?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah. So
I like how we're talking around it.
Right, we're going around it.
Hey, it's a
but anyway,
subject,
like
for those of you listening, it's a sensitive subject, all right? Don't fuck around.
You just get the fuck
I got a knife put to my neck.
What you do is you just get the fuck out of Dodge when those dudes show up.
Math. That's math. That's science.
And I have good friends that are
sure, absolutely
in
are.
Those clubs. We both grew up in California, so
you grew up in an area where one of your buddies is a fucking prez.
Yep.
Or was at least. Yeah, I get it.
And is again.
Yeah.
Different chapter. Yeah.
I don't fuck with that shit, but
no, absolutely not.
I have the utmost respect.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
don't show the door, please.
I grew up in an area where, like, if you were, poor white trash, like you had associations with a certain group of people.
Indeed.
And that was that.
This is weird. It's like I'm looking in a mirror, but it's just a handful of years older.
Right. Yeah.
Because same. Like I said, when I was 14, I had a sergeant at arms friggin' put a knife to my neck, and I was like, I didn't even know what the fuck I did in the moment. You know what I mean? Because I'm a 14-year-old kid. I've always been sarcastic and whatever. So we were talking, and this is like my mom's friend. Like, they were friends. You know what I mean? And I went from having a good time eating dinner to like, holy fuck,
Yeah.
I don't know if he would have done it, but he probably would have, because he was like, he is now serving a life bid, but like he was like a filthy few, like he was a sergeant arms, you know what I mean? Like that's his job, you know what I mean? So like I don't think it was
no,
I don't know that it was a learning point, is what I'm saying. I don't know that it was a learning point. I think it was
a learning point for you.
For sure. Yeah, no, shut the fuck up and get the fuck out. Like you said, get out.
and he probably wouldn't have done it because for whatever he did,
killing a child is usually bad.
It's not for a civilian child, right?
Right. Yeah.
But either way, certain people
scary.
There are certain people in this world that are not to be fucked with, and that's just the way it is. And
1,000%.
There's nothing that you can fucking do about it. So don't, you live on your feet in your world, or you live on your knees in somebody else's. And so if you want to fuck around with those people, that's where you're going to live.
Yeah. Yep. No, I don't fuck with them. I just try to be respectful. Like I did the murder.
Absolutely. I have again, good friends and but that carries me no weight.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had people ask me in the past, like not anytime recently, but like I do own motorbikes and have owned motorbikes and people have been like, hey, you wanna prospect with our club? And I'm like, no, I have zero desire. You want to know why? Because your club is not this club, and I don't want your club to be on beef with that club, because I'd be like, and I'm out. Like, I knew you guys thought I was down, but I'm out. I got childhood trauma, dude. I'm gone.
At the end of the day, there's only one club
That's kind of how I see it too. Yeah.
Yeah, there's only one club, and everybody else is just playing with fire. And I'm like, nope.
I mean, and no disrespect to those other clubs or people, because there are
Right.
plenty
Right.
of badasses and hard motherfuckers. But
Yeah.
in the grand scheme of thing, it's
But
like,
but there's also a reason that you're not in that club.
yeah, you know what I mean.
Nobody grew up as a young, American boy saying, "Oh, I'm going to be in the Deucey Deuces" when I grew up. But there are very few young American boys who at one point in their lives didn't admire the Hells Angels, right? Like,
Oh, for sure, dude. Like, you watch the documentaries and you're like, dude,
yeah,
these motherfuckers
you're like, that's
they do
that's what I want to do.
especially
Like
like foundational stuff, right? Like the early years and
Yeah.
sort of like the start of
the
quote
war
unquote
veteran
1%
shit and the
yeah, like that whole thing, and it's just like that brotherhood, the camaraderie, the fucking just fucking eat shit and party, like fuck you vibes,
Yep.
like all day. I love it. Like party and fuck you,
and kind of like what I said before, right? All the patriotism I owe you was given, so I can do whatever the fuck I want now. And that was kind of like
exactly that's like where they found it. They get back from Vietnam, they're fucking or Korea, Vietnam,
World War II,
whatever. Yeah, and
like,
it's just like looking for that sense of brotherhood and camaraderie and everything else, and a little bit of adventure, a little bit
that
of
you
adrenaline.
Don't necessarily get at the VFW.
No, not. I mean, you get some good camaraderie and stuff, but you don't get the adrenaline, right?
No,
because like
no,
it's weird because like I will say this, like having been in direct contact, like you cannot match that adrenaline as hard as you try. You have to do crazy shit.
Yeah,
right. Like so, getting into fights kind of gets you close to that.
Opening it up at fucking 90 miles an hour on the highway,
like ripping it on your motorbike, getting into a fight, doing some shit like that. Kind of it's because it's it's the same thing like drugs, right? Like if you do some drugs and you have a result from it, like you can't really replicate that unless you whatever. It's like drinking, right? Like I can't make apple juice this whiskey. As hard as I try, it's never going to be that, right? So I have to find something that's like
if I'm thirsty, like I can drink as much water as I want, but there's no fucking barley and hops in there.
No, you get rid of whiskey and there's no whiskey, then I find something else, whether that's beer, mead, fucking bathtub vodka, like Tim and the band drink, like whatever. You know what I mean? Like you find something else. So for those guys, they found each other, they found motorcycles, and they founded a club, and then
they invented a lifestyle and a culture, and then like everything else, it turned into something else down the road. And but it is still, you still see like there's still that tradition there because you still see dudes with fucking airborne rockers.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. You see guys with they'll put they have their military badges and shit.
They've got rockers with like fucking Grenada or fucking
Grenada Rangers, bro.
Like,
those are fucking legends, bro. Grenada.
So
they're not that many.
No, and one of them is the guy that we were talking about earlier. That's a president of fucking.
Oh no shit.
Yeah.
Oh wow, dude. That makes it that much. That's cool, dude. I'm fucking respect, bro.
Yeah, I've known him since I was a little kid, man, and he obviously was way older than me, right? But was still just a menace on like in San Jose, like there were always dudes that we were like, oh, that guy's gonna be a fucking Hell's Angel when he grows up, right? Like,
and then he is. What's crazy though is like
him, that like the guy we're talking about, like there was no fucking doubt in our minds. Like he was a fucking terror to everybody back then. And
awesome.
and he didn't give a fuck either. Like he was 20 and you were a 13-year-old kid, if you stepped out of line, he was gonna fucking put a boot on you. And it was like that's just the way shit was, though. Things were different. Like, nobody talked shit on the internet. People dealt with
Yeah,
shit.
no,
It was a different world.
the pre-internet world is
Yeah, whole weird thing. But like he like, I have a lot of respect for that dude, and a lot of fear. Like, I feared him when I was younger, respected him, but also kept my fucking distance. Years later, we became friends, but at the same time, was like, okay, we're friends to a certain level, but there are certain things I know that I can't. There are lines that I can't cross with this dude. And
Right.
even and now
Yeah.
now I like, so like 15 years ago, it would have been perfectly acceptable for me to go up to him and say, "Hey, what's going on, brother?" Today, that's not allowed.
Right. Yeah, because you have to
Because
be a brother.
because we're not brothers.
Right. Yeah.
No matter what shit no matter what our history is, no matter what, like,
homie.
yeah, homie, that's a different thing, right? Like,
No,
but it's weird, right? It's fucking weird vibe. But it's cool. It's cool. Whatever. You guys do your thing. And again, like we said before, as far as I'm concerned, like, and it's only because where I grew up.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like where I grew up, that was the Primero.
There's only one fucking club.
That was the Primero for sure. Yeah. I mean, shit, they had I remember when I was a kid, they at a Padres game, they had a fucking like a shootout with with the other big one out in Southern California.
Right.
And like I remember the shit out of that because that was like a big deal, and that's just right down the street from my parents' house.
Yeah.
Like my parents live right by the stadium, and like, yeah, like at an early age, you learn like, dude, fuck around and find out is real, and like,
yeah,
and this is a group of people that do not fuck around.
Yeah,
you will
fuck around and find out.
You will.
Do I look like I give a fuck? Is not just a funny bumper sticker.
No, 100%. Like I to this day, dude, I move like, especially when I'm back home, right? Because when the experience that I had as a kid was back home, and I mean, there's a very large presence there, and I'll see him run up on me, like behind me on the freeway, and I'll like move over and then like make traffic get the fuck out of the way.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I'm like, hey, cruise, right? And I ride a bike, so I understand how important it is for traffic to be aware that there are bikes on the road.
Yeah.
But like 1,000%, that is probably.
But that's even different. That's there are bikes on the road. That's when, like, I do the same thing. Like I will like take over traffic to fucking to make sure that
the guy,
because not everybody else understands.
Nah, dude. When I lived in Baltimore, God, there were so many times that I ended up getting like the loudest pipe setup that I could. Like, not just because it just sounds badass, but like legitimately it's a safety thing, right? Like I would have people pull out in front of me, or like just they don't look for bikes, right? They look for cars and trucks and things like that. They don't look for bikes, and they'll pull out for whatever reason, thinking like you're going bicycle speeds. So like I was going to therapy one day, and I remember this fucking SUV was looking at me. The bitch was looking at me as I'm coming, and I'm going 35 miles an hour, right? Not hauling ass or anything. 35 miles an hour. This bitch is looking at me, and then just decides to pull out right in front of me in a fucking big SUV, and I'm on a motorcycle. So I had to like brake, turn. I do like a S curve thing, and I'm like this far,
right? Which
from her vehicle. I'm literally an inch and a half to 2 inches from hitting her car.
It's not like driving a car.
Yeah, I kicked her ass. And then kept going, and she like looks at me like I'm the dickhead. Like, how did you warp here? I'm like, I'm not on a tricycle. You know what I mean? I'm on a motorcycle, like 100 horsepower, like fucking 1900 cc's. Like, dude, I'm only going 35 miles an hour, right? I'm just steady moving, but you almost fucking killed me. You know what I mean? Like, that's the crazy thing is somebody just coming out and you broadsiding can fucking kill you. I've dumped a bike and didn't hit shit, and was lucky enough to like ride it and then cut the power and brake as much as I could before I had to ditch. And then I basically PLF, like, you know, the airborne tuck and roll. And like, even then, I'm sure you've been jumped, so you can really it feels like you got jumped,
That's a
bro.
nice fucking thing to say.
No, it feels like, well, because
yeah.
like, well, no,
You're right.
I'm not being a dick. Like,
absolutely.
again,
Yeah,
like, when I said
and
it's
you
like looking in
fucking
a
know.
mirror
Yeah,
that's a
of
few years
course.
older
Yeah,
than me.
because I was
You know what I mean? Like,
fucking in the 80s too.
like
Yeah.
when I talk to some of my buddies and they're like, "How did it feel?" I'm like, it feels like getting jumped, dude. Like you got
And
your
they're
ass
like, I don't
jumped,
know
like,
what that means.
exactly right. They
Yeah.
cannot relate because they've never been jumped before. I'm like, God, I mean, good for you.
Isn't it
Like,
weird when
good
you
for
meet
you.
people now that like
Don't have those same experiences?
that have like never been in
I'm
a
like, you've never been
fist
jumped,
fight?
bro? I've been jumped like
I've
fucking
met
baker's
people that have
dozen
never.
times.
I've met people that have never been in a fist fight.
That's wild because I got one like 3 years ago.
Right, like I still get in fist fights.
I
right?
don't want to though, dude. I will tell you
No,
this, dude. That
but
3
like
years ago,
when,
I got a fist
but
fight
yeah,
and
like
I won. But dude, I felt like shit for like a
like
week.
is it weird like that me and you could talk about like getting jumped and we think that's normal?
Probably, dude. Honestly, it's probably
Yeah.
it is probably weird, but to us, it's normal, right? Because that's
Because that's fucking
that's
just
the life,
that's
the
that's
life we live.
that's
We were
the
fucking
way it was, man.
grungy street kids. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it
but
is
I
what
mean,
it is.
I felt like back then, like in the like early '90s, late '80s for me, like
So yeah,
I
I was
I
a
felt
kid. I was a kid in the '80s, but I do have
right.
memory. You know what I mean? The '90s was my
I
heyday.
felt like everybody got jumped, right? Like
1,000%. Yeah. Like, I mean, dude, yeah, junior high.
there was
So
just violence everywhere. Like
junior
it
high
was
for me,
just
they shut down this whole like strip mall thingy or whatever, and then fenced in the parking lot because every fucking day in junior high, everybody would go across the street and there'd just be fights in front of like the thrifty.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like talk shit, get hit was
Get in a
like a
fight,
real thing.
100%. Talk shit, get hit for sure. But like, yeah, they're just fighting, and
Not,
oddly enough,
like
there's
we
a
didn't
lot
even
of
say that back then. We didn't say talk shit, get hit. It was a thing.
yeah,
Now
no.
it's a tagline that doesn't happen, right?
Yeah. The same thing with "fuck around and find out." I think that's a great
Right.
it's a great phrase because it's factual, but at the same time,
But it wasn't a thing that was said. It was just a thing that you knew.
yeah,
Yeah.
100%. But like, yeah, from junior high on, like in elementary, I got in fights in elementary school too, but that shit.
Oh yeah.
Like junior high on, like, dude, there was fights every day across the
Yep.
street, and like, it was either you were in one or you were watching, and then you go in, get a Thrifty's ice cream, and fucking go about your business.
Yeah, dude.
And then in high school,
fucking Thrifty's ice cream for 15
and everything
cents. Beautiful.
for because you were further north, but like it seemed like a lot of it was also racially aligned, which is weird because like like where I went to school, we were not a majority, so it really wasn't
neither,
like
dude.
it was never really the whites versus anybody. It was like the blacks versus the Mexicans, or the Mexicans versus the Asians, or the Asians versus the blacks, and then like just the white kids that were like friends with certain groups ended up getting
culture leaking into civilian culture, dude. And that like I lived in Salinas, right, which was like the birthplace. Like if you're a Mexican gangbanger, like to be from Salinas is like a badge of honor,
bro.
right?
I told you I partied with those guys. Those guys are fucking rad.
But if you're a white kid from Salinas, it's just scary. Like there's no badge of honor for like a white guy from Salinas because you're not like a Norteño or a Sereno, right? You're just like a white dude.
You're a weirdo.
Yeah. And like and you're cool with like whatever fucking clique runs your neighborhood at the time, right? But like so me growing up was like nothing but violence, like constant fucking violence. And I mean that just to me was like normal, right? And we didn't have video games and shit. Like we had like Atari and stuff, right? So like I wasn't influenced by like music, or I was just influenced by the shit that I saw going on around me, man. And like shit was violent. Like
yeah, 1,000%. I didn't really get into.
There were legit gangbangers in fucking 5th grade
early. Yeah. It's funny because my wife was like, no way, but like I had a gun pulled on me in 7th grade.
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah,
like a
like
little 38 little shitty like little pocket like
doesn't that
concealed.
it'll
It
kill
doesn't
you.
matter.
Yeah,
100%. I got
yeah,
I stabbed with a pencil twice,
yeah.
like well, once in elementary school and then once in junior high. Actually, I got stabbed with a pen in high school too. But like my wife thinks it's the weirdest thing, and to me, I didn't think anything of it. Like honestly, at the time, and even in my young adult years or even grown adult years, I didn't
Like,
think anything of it until she was asking me a question like, is that I think it was something about like kids fighting. It's like, is that normal? Right? She's from the East Coast and very, very her, they're very Caucasoid. And so
right.
like for her, like she was like, that just doesn't seem normal. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, yeah, dude, kids fight, kids fucking tussle. That it's part of
Right.
like learning. It's kind of
Right.
part of learning who you are and like, you know what I mean, where you kind of align, in society. And she's like, no, that's not like nobody I knew, and obviously she's a woman, but still like none of her dude friends, none of her cousins, any of that stuff, like ever got into fights like that or had experiences like that. And I'm like, holy shit. So I'm like laying it out. I'm like, yeah, like I
You're
got
like,
this
wait,
scar here because
yeah,
I got stabbed and then the knife stuck in my wrist. So like when I pulled away, the knife came with me. And then it was like the rage, you know what I mean? Then it's on popping. Like this shit happened too in Hawaii a long time ago. Me and the homie Mike Reed, we had a buddy also named Mike. So oddly enough, there were more than 2 Mikes
lots
in
of
the circle.
mics. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a shit ton in Hawaii at the time. But we're in Waikiki. I believe you may have been to the Pink Cadillac Club.
Yes. Played there. Remember?
Great bar. It's no longer a thing, but God, I love that place. But anyway, so we were waiting to get in
Right around the corner from my
from the
favorite
Hideaway,
bar
bro.
in the world, the Hideaway, which is also no longer
in existence. I know. Vonnie, it's funny. So Vonnie, one of the other Filipino skinhead dudes that was he was in a band with Mike and our other buddy Mike and some other folks. He lives in Vegas now, and he recently posted a picture with like him and Johnny and this other dude that was in Hawaii at the time. And I was like, bro, I haven't seen these motherfuckers in forever, but I did see.
Dude, Johnny was one of the most fucking just awesome dudes ever.
Oh, he's so nice. Yeah. So great. He would like hit me up and be like,
as nice as he was, I guarantee you that dude would fuck you up in a fucking second if he.
Oh yeah, he didn't take no shit for sure. Yeah. I mean, like when he owned that bar, it was like the dive bar, like the
it was like on like Dog the Bounty Hunter and shit.
Yeah, like Dog the Bounty Hunter or Insomniac, that Dave Attell comedy show. Like what's funny is, so he came out there and I was hammered and I ended up getting in like a back and forth with that dude, and I thought it was pretty funny, but they did not keep any of the good material to put on the show. They basically were like a thing where I said something and he's like, oh, what, like I'm Osama bin Laden or something, blah blah blah, and like we were going back and forth, and then that was it. Right. So it's basically me saying some shit to him and then him being like, what, I'm some sort of terrorist? Like, come on, guy. And then the rest of the time it was just like me in the background, just drunk as shit, like talking to people and hanging out at the bar. And I was like, you guys missed the best material. Cause he like laughed and like shook my hand. I was like, dude, do you mind signing a release? Cause that was fucking funny. And I was like, yeah, dude, no worries. Like I'm just surprised that you're here. This is great. Cause this is our local dive bar. But yeah, like, I mean, fucking Joan Jett came and partied there. You graced us with your fucking
Me
glory.
And Laura fucking
you and Laura drinking tequila like a motherfucker, dude.
Yeah.
But like,
I love that place, man.
That place was great.
It was literally like the greatest bar.
If I win the lottery, I'm buying it. I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take it.
It won't be the same if Johnny doesn't own it, though.
I'll bring Johnny. So I think Johnny's still there. So because Vonnie shared a thing with Vonnie and Johnny, but because Vonnie shared a thing with Johnny in it, I was like, oh, I haven't seen him in a long time. Like, let me see what's up to. I'm pretty sure he's still there. He's just not doing the bar business.
Dude, the great thing was that it was like fucking right in fucking Waikiki,
the middle of downtown Waikiki.
It was like fucking like in the tourist fucking trap, like maybe
7-Eleven,
maybe 2 blocks away from like the height of like Waikiki, right? Like so, but still right there.
Yeah, it was just north of the Alawai,
right,
the little canal, which
and
kind of
just
just
and
cuts off the two. But like,
and it was a fucking dive bar with cheap drinks and fucking cool people and a great jukebox and
well, I drank
fucking
High Life and Jack Daniels by the gallon at that place.
dude. It was
Played
like
billiards.
skinheads and fucking bikers and like
Yeah.
and like and it was hidden, right? And it was a perfect name, the Hideaway. It was like fucking next
No,
to
I
a
know because it's
launch.
back behind. So the Pink Cadillac was around the corner,
Yeah,
and then there's a big like nightclub that stayed up until 5 a.m. called the Wave. But like, yeah, it was behind all of that. So like, you could go to other places, but if you knew where it was, you knew you were
yeah.
gonna have a good time. Because like you said, it's a punk rock,
Or
skinhead, biker, psychobilly,
or
like
you're
the
gonna have a bad
subculture.
time. But
Well, yeah,
that
if you fuck
depends on
around,
you.
yeah,
Yeah,
you good to find out for sure.
yeah.
Like I remember one time I went to hit a guy with a fucking stool, right? Like straight up, like I'm just gonna hit you with a stool. Whoop. And then this gigantic Samoan dude just grabbed the stool and was like, doop.
Nope.
And I'm like, huh. And I like turn around and he's like, just shakes his finger, like one hand holding the stool and the other hand shaking the finger.
And you
And
were
he's
like, yeah, okay.
all right, I'll fight normal.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm in my head, I'm like, this is just gonna be done easy.
Yeah.
And nothing. But
Nah,
that was the cool thing because it wasn't like he was like, oh, now fuck you, or you know what I mean?
no.
Like if other people were having a fight, the other people just kind of watched. Like
Yeah.
nobody
There's been
started excess shit.
even
Right? It was just like
in
there's rules of the streets.
even in California, there's been a lot of times in my life, or also some of my time in Seattle, where a giant Samoan has suddenly changed my mind on what I thought I was going to do.
Hardest I've ever been hit in my life. Hardest
Yeah.
I have ever been hit in my life. When I
Well,
first
talking
moved,
about getting jumped, like the one time I was jumped, like one of the dudes that jumped me was a Samoan dude, and I was like,
fuck,
he
okay.
could have just kicked my ass by himself. I didn't
Easy.
like
Yeah.
didn't need help.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're 6'5" and 300 pounds. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
hey.
like Yenny was like fucking like SOS dude that was like transplanting that whole Sons of Samoa thing up to fucking Northern California. So
Oh wow.
Yeah. But anyway, all right, we've been running on for a while.
Jarring.
Yeah.
So happy Big Brew Day, everyone.
Happy Big Brew Day. Like find your homebrew club. Check out like cool shit, man. Big
the
check
Google's
out,
there.
Read the history on homebrewing was against the law for no reason. They thought it would make you blind because ethanol, methanol. And that's still the reason that they don't let you distill
for distilling. Yeah, because that first push is
But-
pretty high octane. You know
but
what I mean?
but at the end of the day, it's really not, and it depends on what you're distilling.
Well, because you can cut it too.
If you're distilling fruit, you've got more methanol than if you're distilling grains like corn, like most moonshiners do. You probably have zero methanol in
Really?
your run.
So like if you just do like corn and rye.
So what happened and the reason that one of the big pushes to end prohibition was a doctor that said, listen, people are fucking going blind because of methanol poisoning. Because they're buying all this illegal shit, right? He's like, I had 38 patients with varying results of methanol poisoning. And that's one of the big pushes to end prohibition, right? Never mind the violence and the mob and all that other shit, because I'm sure the government actually liked that because they got more money to fight the mob, blah, 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 but still. But
it was just a front, it's like the CIA and the fucking coke game.
But so what was going on back then was there were very unscrupulous people who were adding methanol to their alcohol because it's cheaper,
The
right?
old school. That's the old school version of fentanyl.
Right.
That's which is
And
fucked up. Don't put fentanyl in
exactly.
drugs,
So
everybody.
it was the old school version of fentanyl. Like,
Don't you guys fuck with my alcohol?
so
Don't you fuck with my drugs?
so in reality, like there are major breweries or major distilleries out there right now that are they tossing the 4 shots, the methanol? Probably not, because there's actually good stuff in there. There's good flavor,
Right. It's a
and there's
little
good,
mixies.
yeah. Um, and actually every beer and every wine that you drink has methanol in it. It's just at a lower dose. So it
Listen here,
was
Charlie Spade. I don't do meth. All right.
no methanol.
Oh, okay.
Different
Okay,
kind of meth.
different. Okay.
So it's the general rule of home distillers, which I don't know
No
anything
idea.
about.
Just speaking out of school. Yeah.
From things I've read on the internet
hearsay, allegedly.
is you get rid of the first 2 ounces and you're good. And
that's what I've heard too. Just the first couple,
and
the first inch.
and a lot of guys are like, man, we're throwing a lot of good shit away, but we do it just to be safe. And that's especially true when you're doing all grain. You're likely to have the amount of methanol that you would have to drink to like go blind is a quarter cup straight.
Well, that's 2 ounces.
Yeah. So that's what they throw away.
That's funny.
That's
so
what they
like,
that's what they throw away.
Right. But even then, like honestly, if you're tossing two ounces of a few gallons, not that big of a deal at the end of the day. But I could see how people could be a little bit bummed because it's like mining gold and you toss out like all the little flakes.
Right.
Just right. Nuggets.
Exactly.
Like, bro, it all has some sort of value.
Nope, this has some silver in it. It's got to go.
Like, I'll take it, dog. Like, I got some buddies that work at the mines and they do the core, like the drilling core sample stuff, and they'll pull up these like core samples that have like ribbons of silver or whatever in them, and I'm like, those all get locked up. Apparently, they're like lock and key. Like, even though it's just a core sample, they're not using it, they're not selling it, whatever, but they keep them because that's still valuable material that they don't just want like dudes just that work there just taking it home with them. And I'm like,
what's funny is like the mines by us, like where Laura collects like her fluorescents, like when those mines were opened.
Does she go like in the washes and the tailings and stuff, or she actually go into the mine?
No. There's like the old pits.
So the tailings, all the excess like old stuff. Yeah, got it.
So when those mines were open, the only valuable thing in the mine was zinc, right? That's what they were mining for. And there's zinc in everything, right? It's like you literally can't look at anything that's manufactured that doesn't have zinc in it. So it was the New Jersey Zinc Company. But there were all these fluorescent minerals down there that to the New Jersey Zinc Company was worthless to them.
Yeah, we don't give a shit. We're not selling it.
So the miners were allowed to whatever they could fit in their lunchbox, as long as it wasn't zinc, they could take home with them. Ooh. And it turns out that now these fluorescent minerals are some of the rarest minerals in the fucking world, and they're worth a lot of fucking money. And
yeah, some of them for sure.
And in the area, there's like people that like buy houses and they move in and they just find all this shit in their basement from like an old mine worker that like just like brought the shit home,
just filled up a corner little thing,
right. And even when somebody like builds a new house there now, right, and they dig up the fucking earth, they pull up all these fucking minerals that like, so it's kind of cool. And it's a whole differing thing because like, yeah, these guys, if they would have brought up zinc in their lunchbox, they would have been in trouble, but they didn't want zinc.
Yeah, there's
This
like, oh,
ain't
here's a
meant
pretty
shit to
rock. I'm
them.
giving my
Like, hey,
kids or
you're going to
whatever.
make pencils or aluminum or whatever. But these cool shits that glowed in the dark, they're like, oh, these are awesome. And
Yeah.
it turns out we have the largest deposit of those minerals in the world. And now they're like incredibly collectible, especially the really rare ones. And we rambled on for more. So
I know, right? You're gonna have to edit this because now we're just talking about shit. But yeah, like, so the fluorescents are super cool out here. You know, it's cool. And the reason I asked is so like we have some big opal mines just south of here,
right,
and so there's like the washes have the tailings. So technically, like if we wanted to, like if you guys come out, we could just go and like hike the washes, take the dogs out, whatever, and then if we happen to chance upon some fucking raw opal, Bob's
yeah.
your uncle. You know what I mean?
So when
Or
all right, so it's January or
the end of January. So it's always like
all right.
basically like the last week of January and the first few days of February
All
is
right.
the big one.
All right, so you know what? I never take vacation. Neither does Laura. In fact,
We have a guest room right here, right next door.
it's to the point to where my boss is just like sending me extra bonus checks every year because I don't take vacation. He's like, "Fucking dude, stop."
Oh
I'm
yeah,
like, "What
no.
if I do take
worked this-
vacation?" He's like, "Fine."
I was saving up my PTO for this fall because I said, I'm taking the whole family to Europe. We're gonna do Cheese Fest in northern Italy, and then we're gonna go to Oktoberfest in Germany, and then have a couple days. Might do a day trip to like Austria or something. But so like that's the plan, and
Yeah.
I'd been saving up my PTO, and then last month or 2 months ago, my company changed their policy on PTO, and then they bought back 80 hours without like I didn't even they told me after like post facto like, oh hey, by the way, your next paycheck's gonna have it's a double check because you had excess PTO, so we bought it back. Like they didn't even ask me. And I was like, oh, well, okay. Like I was saving that up because I plan on taking my family to Europe for like 10 days, 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to have excess PTO so I could kill 2 weeks of it and then still have more for, if kids get sick and this, that, and the other thing. Because I've got an old kid and I've got 2 little kids. So like
Right.
I need to budget my time. But yeah,
Well,
they just sold it and didn't even tell me.
I got a text from my boss. He's like, "Oh, you're getting a vacation check for XXX." I was like, "Cool." Then I talked to him the next day. I was like, "What the fuck is a vacation check?"
You didn't take PTO, so we're buying it back from you.
No.
No?
He goes, it's just a bonus.
Oh, I would prefer that, honestly, because I've been like,
I'm like, so it doesn't count against anything? He's like, no. He goes, it's just an extra bonus. He's like, we have the money in the bank now. And I was like, give it to my guys. I was like, he's like, I know you're going down to.
Oh, you want to dish out with your team?
He's like, you're going down to South Carolina for your son's wedding and everything. He's like, I'll throw you ... And I was like,
did Charlie do a second wedding?
Well, he's an asshole because he's already married.
Right.
And now they're spending all this ridiculous amount of money
on a
wedding, which is going to be a dry wedding because they don't have enough money to pay for the bar. And I'm like, so you want people to just like go down there and hang out for 6 hours?
Do a GoFundMe. I will donate $100.
You want people to go hang out for 6 hours with no alcohol and listen to a DJ for people that are already married? and you're not telling any of these people, because if you tell them, they won't come. He's like, yeah, basically.
It's her family.
Huh?
It's her family or extended family?
No, extended family, but
weird.
All right. Anyway, we got to wrap this up.
Yeah. I gotta go to the bathroom.
Yeah,
I've been
me
drinking
too.
alcohol this whole time.
All right, let me put on another song. And we'll get
all right, you're gonna have to edit some of this shit out, but let's go.
Fuck that. It's going.
Fuck around and find out.
Going up the way it is.
Just bullshitting.
If you're a bear, I drink it there. I drink so much I can't see clear. What would I do without my beer? If you're a bear, I'd buy the first round. The next two till you came around. Oh, wow, I love to have my beer. If you're a bear, I'd take a case. I'd take you out and back to my place. Oh, wow, I wish you were my beer. If you're a bear.
I really have to pee.
All right, fuck off. We're out of here. Inebrination. Splatterhead, Mikey Bones.
Later.
See you next time.
Are you still brewing?
Nah, I'm done brewing. Yeah.
Shit. Well, I
I'm-
guess it's 6:45.
I'm gonna brew some more tomorrow for for the whiskey fairies to distill.
Ooh.
I can't do it. It's illegal.
No, it's illegal. Yeah,
All right.
it's like
Later.
psilocybin. It's illegal.
Inebrination, motherfuckers.
Inebrination, you sub bitch.